Sometimes you're just cleaning up, and somewhere in a box or so you find an item that you kind of forgotten about, and well, for me that was one of these boxes. I guess for it's quite a while ago, but Proginova. Back when I was on hormone therapy, and it was really just every day having to take estradiol, so for estrogens, the base form, having to take that, and I also found the same box. I found the transdermal version, and you like that. It was only a couple of years ago that I quit with hormone therapy. That is also, quick recap for people who have not been reading my blog or have not endeavored to catch up on my blog writings or anything like that. It was in 2007 was when I started on hormone therapy. It was one of those things where I guess identity finding phase and realizing that just looking at my body and discovering my body and finding that, okay, well, I have a female appearance, and there's also this whole intersex thing is going on, and I really feel that a female hormone balance should fit better with my body, and you just keep moving towards it. And at some point, I got dragged into the whole transgender protocol thing within the medical circuit, because they felt that that was the right thing for me. Because if you're born and you get labeled male, then obviously if you do not feel happy with that situation, then you must be a transgender person who wants to become female. That's how it works, apparently. So that is the world I kind of ended up in. So finding out about my body was important, and within that, when you start thinking back, like, because these things I've been taking those tablets for years. Also, in the beginning, before 2011, I also had the testosterone blockers. Not a lot, just a quarter of what a biological male person would need to take to get back to a female testosterone level. So but it's really like this everyday thing. Every day, it's like that is your life. And looking back on why I actually opted for that, I guess I must have felt that female appearance. It's like, I guess a big factor there really was that many years before that the whole intersex thing and hormone therapy and anything became a thing, I already had this whole nice thing where everybody figured when they saw me that I had to be female, especially once I started growing out my hair during high school. That was really fun. Suddenly everybody was like, "Ha, you're female. I know that. I know that kind of human. You're female." So from school photographers to just public restrooms with cleaning ladies and everywhere. And that was before I started on hormone therapy. So I don't know exactly why I began on that, but then you end up with all this stuff and just doing it every day, that you have this female hormone balance. And well, as it turned out, I actually wasn't even using that much. It was the interesting thing was in 2014, things like I wasn't feeling too happy in my skin. I had just moved to Germany, and Let's just say that the medical care was lacking. I mean, back in the Netherlands already, Germany wasn't a lot better. This was mostly just fighting with people about because they, I mean, me trying to somehow having to prove to them that I was intersex, even though it was supposedly their test to tell me what I really was, but they couldn't tell me what I was. But and obviously not really normal male or female. It was so confusing. So I guess that in some ways that taking these tablets that so many different forms and so many boxes I don't have anymore. And you take that, I guess, part of just that, okay, let my body just become this thing, because one thing was I did not have back then, even though since, I mean, when I was 11, I already had something resembling menstruation. You know, the first time with nice stomach pains and everything, horrible. And at that point, my body began also with the whole female puberty thing with breast growth, but it suddenly it just ceased, like there was nothing. And male secondary characteristic development also just didn't really happen. I just did not have enough testosterone for it or something. I don't know, but everything just kind of stopped and nothing happened. And so I didn't really pass as male. I didn't pass as female, but my body still developed more, especially with my skeleton. You know, still the developments there with the wider hips and all that. That still happened, just not the whole chest area. So I guess in that sense, it made sense to me that I would just start with hormone therapy. Like, okay, I will just get rid of all the excess testosterone, and I will just do this thing with the Proginova to get all the nice female hormones there, and then it gets we can do this puberty thing right, and then it will be done. And yeah, but I mean, I guess the ironic thing is that 2014, it was already like I was having a bit of trouble because I did have still had a monthly cycle going on. I just noticed that with every month you feel the same fluctuations, the same pains like on the sides, and like, oh my god, just for a couple of days, and that passes again, and then a couple of weeks later you get the next phase where you're like, oh my god, the cramping and stuff. So that got worse, like with actual. This was 2014, 2015, with the intense pressure on my head. It's just the kind of like super PMS, where you're not just talking about you're feeling a bit cranky and you're like, oh, I don't feel so right. But it was more like this intense pressure on my head. As something was just pushing my head against the plates and just pressing, and it's just was horrible. And also around the time I began to notice that on my abdomen I saw this nice brown line growing there, just forming on the skin. This thin line from the groin area to about the navel. And of course, searching for that, you know, just okay. There's a brown line on my lower abdomen, and well, turns out that is a well-known thing. It's called linea nigra, and it's primarily something you find with pregnant women when there's hormone fluctuations. And well, I mean, a friend, acquaintance, a nurse in the US, she told me that she had also seen something similar with patients of her who actually had high levels of estradiol, so high female hormones. That could also cause that, and there's more research, and yes, indeed, that's a thing. And I had it investigated, my hormone levels, and well, go figure, my normal estradiol levels were already like just low-ish for a female person, but normal. So yeah, congratulations. And basically what I had been doing for the past few years at least was with taking this, so extra estradiol and more estradiol later on via the skin, and I had been kind of overdosing. I had actually noticed that years before that, when I had been at one gender team in Netherlands, they prescribed these what do you call them? Like these patches you put on your skin, and they also contain the estradiol, and it also goes through your skin. So that you can ideas that you can put it on, and then it stays on for a week or so, and you don't have to think about that. I got the standard dose they gave to transgender people, the male to female people, and let's just say that I got. I had been motion sickness. I hadn't had motion sickness in years, and suddenly, since I had a child, and suddenly, wham, motion sickness, migraines, everything. It was like my whole puberty was back with migraines and everything I had back then, only much worse. Like I was practically just, I couldn't function because the whole time I had intense motion sickness, I had intense migraines, and with aura, the migraines where you see those nice gray thingies appearing in your peripheral vision until you can not see anything anymore, and then suddenly you want to die because your brain is trying to kill you. I got all that. That was so hormones. Yeah, that was quite not so fun experience really. So 2015, when I found out about that, that was for 2015, when I found out about, okay, well, my body does it by itself. So the natural conclusion was then, well, I was taking this at a time, this is still a full pack. I think I had this one also actually obtained this one before I found out, and so it's now probably expired, obviously, but yeah. Years of taking that and suddenly finding out that oh hey, your body just seems to do it by itself, and please stop taking extra estradiol because why do you have this super PMS thing going on with the intense headaches and stuff? Because you're overdosing, and too much estradiol, estrogens, is not a good thing. It makes your body not happy, it makes your brain not happy, it makes you not happy, and yeah, it's not fun. So also I've also been to try to deal with the symptoms of the menstruation and the whole cycle thing to control that. Also use these just the pill, the anticonception pill. I've been also taking it for years. I don't anymore because symptoms seem to be better now. It's like the monthly. I don't. It was a while when I thought I have endometriosis or something because these pains I have every month are just that are not healthy anymore. And so I figured that maybe that was it, but then turned out actually that big part of the problems, at least the past years, was basically malnutrition. So lack of protein essentially, and not eating well, and then you eat healthier and suddenly you feel better, and then congratulations, you don't really need to have anymore. Because I don't really need to take the pill because there is no chance of me becoming pregnant because hey, you're not fertile. So, and that's also the interesting thing about, I guess, the question of the thing that you always get, which was also so present there with the whole thing when I had to deal with this transgender world and everything around it, and there's this whole obsession almost with being male and being female and passing as one sex or the other, and having your genitals rebuilt and getting the hormones of the other sex, and it's very weird, but if you've been in that for a while and your own body is weird, to put it that way. I mean, if your body is just like you're born and your body is like, well, just standard male or standard female, then you can just point at your body and be like, hey, look at me, I'm male, or hey, look at me, I'm female. You know, I've got the requisite bits, they usually function, and then you get cases like mine where puberty is basically kinda not really, and then suddenly, because together with 2000, what happened 2015 with me quitting the hormone therapy, and that came a couple of years after I had the testicles removed, which turned out to be not fully formed testicles, which did produce basically no testosterone. That's why the low testosterone levels. And it's like, okay, everything about your body is like not really male or female in a sense, because you don't really have genitals. That's, you know, in the normal sense that you have those fully formed reproductive organs doing their thing there, and I still kind of do, but not really, and they kind of have both, and not kind of half formed, and at that point you have to start wondering, do I really want to force myself into this corner or maybe that corner, or am I okay just being everywhere a bit? That this binary way of thinking, where like basically the question you get so often of, do you want to be a male or a female? Do you want to be a man or a woman? Are you a boy or a girl? The question I used to get a lot as well. And honestly, what does it matter? I mean, you have a body. Is your body healthy? Perfect. Keep it like that. Which genitals do you have? I guess some people think it's really important. And I mean, I would be lying if I said that it didn't mean anything to me. I mean, I did spend years trying to figure out which genitals I had, just to, you know, finding out those questions. Yeah, and if I got the option, say tomorrow, surgeon, okay, hey, okay, I want to help you and get the reconstructive surgery there to get that vagina that you have that reopened, and be like, sure, you know, but on a scale from 1 to 10 of how important it is to me, where 10 is super important and 1 is, I think I'm kind of there, like a 5 or 6 or so, maybe. That would be about as far as I go, because it's not the most important thing in life, you know, like, oh my god, genitals. It's, you know, sometimes you get a feeling that the society, especially Western societies, they are so obsessed with genitals. You know, everything is about genitals. You know, before a child is born, they basically want to know, okay, you've got those genitals, you go into that category, and everything is based on those genitals. And just like when you have an intersex child is born with ambiguous genitals, no way, cannot happen. You know, like, we need to chop, get out the scalpel and cut it all just right, because we cannot have a child who does not have acceptable genitals, because we are all about genitals here, you know. Because the way of thinking with intersex children is usually that, well, an intersex child cannot be happy if they do not know whether they are a boy or a girl. So basically, if you cannot clearly tell which genitals they have, because they will get teased by other children, and, well, assumptions, I mean, children can be mean, but children are mostly taught to be mean by their parents. You know, like, because children are curious. They don't really care, they don't mind. It's only when adults around them begin to care. That's, in a sense, I'm grateful that when I was born, that nobody could see, that I also had female genitals inside. That nobody could see that there was also a vagina there and any other weird things. And because if that had been the case, in some cases with hermaphrodites where they're born and the vagina is partially open, you have this little hole or something that you can just see the entrance because it didn't fully close during development. And they're like, aha, you are wrong. And then they're like, okay, now we have to decide, are we going to remove the penis or are we going to open the vagina fully again? And, depending on which genitals are the most complete or something, or we're going to look at your chromosomes if that has any relevance whatsoever, yeah. Just things that you think about when you just come across one of those stupid things, and when you realize how glad you are that you are done with hormone therapy because your body doesn't need it anymore, that it was just a temporary thing. I remember sitting in so many talk shows and telling people that, I take those hormones and I have to take them for the rest of my life. And a couple of years later, and suddenly it's like, don't need them anymore. Gone. That's another chapter closed. And living your life without having to take medication like that's also pretty awesome. I think that's the freedom you get from not having this feeling that, oh my God, if I don't take those tablets, then my identity will change, my body will change, and people will start looking at me weird, and I don't know, it's really, really weird. That's how that works, that society so obsessed with genitals and hormones, and also this, the fun thing is that even puberty, it's assumed that, okay, so around 11, 12, 13 years old you begin puberty, and once you are 17, 18, then it's pretty much done and you get all the things, and then you get a body like mine and it's like, okay, well, you're 11 now, okay, we're going to do the menstruation thing, wham, okay, cool, bit of a birth growth, cool, well, okay, never mind, we just stop with everything, even with on the male side, didn't look at anything like the whole changes to your skeleton, like the bit of with the eyebrow and stuff, that it becomes more prominent, or with the length of your fingers, that your ring and index finger, that with females, they, at least Caucasian females, like they're the same length. Whereas for Caucasian males, then one of those fingers is longer than the other, and those small details, and it's maybe something to do with testosterone. And I qualify in all respects as just boring, standard, just even with dress sizes, everything pure, standard, female. And my body decided in 2015, hey, let's finally wrap up this puberty thing. Which is pretty amazing. Suddenly that, okay, breast growth, the chest develops again, like wham, and you're like, wow, what? But it happens, and that's then done. Oh, it's almost done now. It takes a couple of years, during whole puberty, then you go from almost nothing to more and more, and at some point it's presumably kind of more or less stops. At least, yeah. So my body has decided that it wants to be female, apparently. For reasons I cannot really say. It happens, but stability, knowing what your body is, you don't have any surprises. That no mysteries, no surprises. That you understand what's going on. That will be the next step. Which, I have no idea. How is it possible that a puberty takes 20 years? Is there even a case in the literature like that? I haven't found anything relevant, so um, it's all very confusing. It's all very weird. It's also interesting. And I guess I'm mostly, yeah, when you find stuff like this and you realize that is actually done, something which you thought that was all going to be always like that, and then it changes, and then your body kind of reveals itself in a different way, and you have to accept it. I mean, of course you have to accept it, because, I mean, it's your body, it does things, and, well, I mean, that's the way it is, I guess. So, yeah, not sure what else to say about that. Just musings when you find something in a box, some old items with, I guess I could have thrown out years ago. You're done, it's empty, and you just toss it out. But for some reason I did keep a few. I used to have more of them, but I lost those. And I think these, it's a reminder of a different time, of a different you, maybe, a different self, and you thought that this is the way it's always going to be, and then suddenly everything changes when you see that, there's this brown line on your abdomen, and you start looking it up, and from there things begin to change in many ways. And yeah, it's all, the human body is weird, and it's definitely not something that is just a simple thing you can just put into a little neat box. Just, you cannot sort humans like that, because bodies are weird. You start off with a little bit of DNA in one cell, and suddenly you have billions of cells with their own customized version of DNA, just making just the right proteins and everything just for that tissue they are part of, and all the signaling between that makes everything happen. It's a weird process. I kind of feel like some kind of experiment sometimes, maybe, but it's also educational, because if I had not been born like this, then maybe I would never have learned about the things. I would never have developed this interest in investigating that. Okay, a lot of it was also just forced. When I started with hormone therapy, it was me who had to determine the doses. It was me who had to just do everything. I just got the test results back from my GP, and I had to determine whether it was good or not good enough. And change the dose depending on it. Just educational, but playing your own doctor is also exhausting, and sometimes it's nice if your body is just normal, boring, I guess you would say. Just that you don't need hormone therapy, you need nothing to reach that point where your body is happy, and where you're happy with your body, and that you do not have to fight against your body or feel that you have to change your body. I think that's definitely those little boxes. That's definitely a reminder of that, of the time when I was still searching. And I like to think that at this point I have found a lot of the answers I was looking for back then. So, yeah, that was just a bit of rambling on my end. If anyone is still watching this point, congratulations, and thank you for watching. And see you in the next vlog. Have a great day.